one of the things we're really short of is a proper understanding of what makes great learning. But we're not even sure what learning is. You know, how would you know when you've got a lot of learning compared to a little bit of learning? What the learning skill does, I think, is helps you structure your thoughts around all that.
I'd always sort of been a bit found that lesson plans were sad because teachers got to make them, students never knew what was in them. When you start to plan a lesson, especially if you're a new teacher, a lesson's a bit of a frightening thing. You don't know how it will go, what bits will be in there. So I thought if we had like a storehouse along the bottom of various components, then at least a teacher starting's got, you know, some things to start with. An Italian monk called Guido Arezzo came up with the idea. He looked at his hand and he suddenly thought, I could lay music out. And so the music score was born. So I thought, it just suddenly occurred to me, why don't we have a score for a lesson so that students can look at it and see that, oh, the teacher's going to talk for that long, but then we're going to get to work together. Then we're going to go, you know, on an adventure. The real rock and roll bit of it is maybe where a teacher might occasionally just say, that's what we've got to do. What do you think? And the students might say, can we just start with 20 minutes working in pairs, because that's when we have our best ideas, you know. And then can we have a look at those 3 websites, you know, and you could use it as a collaborative planning tool. Each thing you pull onto the timeline is called a module, and you can put text in there, you can put pictures as JPEGs, you can put sound files, you can put movie clips, flash files, and there's also a browser built in so that you're able to link to a web page, and if you're on a live web link, the page will come up within the score, and they can all live within the score. So that means if you pass your score on to someone else, they've got the pointers or they've got the actual content, depending on how you've built it.
And the learning score would allow you to have something that actually helped, particularly trainee teachers, focus on how they're planning their lessons, how the different activities are there, are they engaging the different styles of learning, how much time is their voice and how much time is the pupil voice. I mean, it's just got a lot of potential for use.
One of the things that's interested me is the way that people see different uses for it that I hadn't intended, and I think that's probably the test of a good piece of software. You know, can people use it in ways you never expected? You know, if they can, you've done something right. Some people say we were using it for meetings now, so that we can say everyone's going to get their little chunk of time, and suddenly, because you can see that your time is 10 minutes and someone else is 10 minutes, it's back to that visual contract. You know, you've agreed that at the start, so the red line, if you press play, will move through as well and show you where you should be in your lesson, in your meeting, in your media editing course. And the interface is, we try to keep it fairly clean and sort of, fairly soft in colour, but there are sort of 4 tracks, but you can add more. And you can change the names, and the tracks are to do with activities, media, feedback. You pull the components up until it feels right and looks right. It's able to be put on the web, but it also runs standalone on your own machine, so you don't need a web connection to use it. The other idea is that you can then wrap it and publish it on a website. You can also export it as a text lesson plan, so you've just pulled around a few modules on screen, but suddenly you've made a print lesson report as well in the background. I want this to be a tool to help the teachers to be creative.
I think people see it as a teaching tool, but actually it's a liberating tool for the learner, because it really gives them the full breadth of possibilities. That's hugely important.
I'm John Davitt, the developer of the Learning Score. I like making tools and working with teachers to sort of let them find the joy in creating things, making things, and living powerfully in the real world and the digital one.